Hey, it's the Fantasy Flow coming at you between the wild card weekend and the divisional round. And man, life's been crazy. That's why we're in this car. That's why this video is not going to be edited. It's just going to be recorded and just thrown up there. Man, it's been a total whirlwind this week, just with everything that's going on. Andy's still on vacation. But man, I couldn't let a week go by, especially not in the playoffs, without giving my thoughts on the last round and previewing the next round. So we're going to talk about those wild card games. Let's just get right to the meat of the video. Let's talk Ravens-Steelers, okay? The Ravens pulled through. They curb stomped them. My game pick, I said the Ravens would win. I said the Steelers would cover, and I just had too much respect for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. I was just nervous. I was scared. A little bit of it was like some emotional hedging because I am a Ravens fan, and I didn't want to believe that we would just walk in there and control the game for all four quarters, which is totally what happened. I mean, I was surprised. TJ Watt was a total no-show. When has that ever happened? Like, he literally did not show up on the box score, not a single tackle, sack, pressure, anything. So that was just incredible display by the Ravens offense. Couple stats here. Lamar Jackson ran the ball almost as many times as he threw it, and Derrick Henry ran the ball himself 26 times. So this was a completely different game plan than we've seen in the past, and I think there's three reasons for that. One, their number one wide receiver, Zay Flowers, was out, okay? Number two, the Steelers are uniquely bad against the run. Defending the run has been a problem for them for most of the year. And three, I just think Lamar was like saving his body for the playoffs, saving his legs. I think, when they have the game in hand, or when, plan A seems to be working out all right, they don't have Lamar run the ball 15 times a game. But here, it's the playoffs. It is do or die. If you lose, you're out. And combined with those other factors, I think they just told Lamar, all right, dude, go nuts. Let's do it. And it worked to amazing success. And I think we're going to see more of it, partly because Zay Flowers still isn't practicing as of this recording. So, I expect to see a lot more of Lamar Jackson running. I expect to see a lot more of the Ravens forcing the defense to choose between him and Derrick Henry, which is just a total pick your poison. Worked amazingly against the Steelers, and we'll get to their game against the Bills a little later. Next game, Texans-Chargers. I said that this game would not matter, and I stand by that, okay? Fluky turnovers is what I'm going to chalk it up to. Great, hats off to the Texans defense, I guess. They're going to be moving on to the next round. Unlike the Chargers, Justin Herbert threw 4 interceptions in that game. He only threw 3 all year, which is insane. Ladd McConkey set a new NFL record for receiving yards in a playoff game by a rookie. So that's insane. Rest of my notes here, honestly, I'm just going to skip by it because the Texans are going to get absolutely destroyed by the Chiefs in the next round. Bills-Broncos. So I picked the Bills to win, and they won comfortably. Broncos had that early touchdown and didn't score another point for the rest of the game. I don't think it's a big deal either. Congrats to the Bills for moving on. I kind of don't think that this game matters a whole lot, right? It was great that Bo Nix had a successful rookie year. The Broncos have a lot to look forward to for the future. I love that Bo Nix kind of got a taste for playoff football, as well as a lot of the other young players on that roster. That really, I think, sets them up for success moving forward, that he already knows what that's going to be like. Got his toes wet. I really like that. I think rookie quarterbacks just struggle in the postseason. Quarterbacks who have never been to the postseason tend to struggle their first time there. So I like that. I think about like Jalen Hurts went to the postseason, and it was so forgettable. His first ever postseason game, so forgettable. And then the next time he got to the postseason, they went to the Super Bowl. So, not that I'm calling for that for the Broncos, but I just as an example, great season for the Broncos, and the Bills looked phenomenal. Eagles-Packers. This game was nuts. started right off the bat with an insane controversial call by the refs. Even if that did go the Packers' way, I don't think they would have won this game. The Eagles were in the driver's seat from the very beginning. Score was never that close. I picked the Eagles to win, and I picked the Eagles to cover, and we nailed it. So, I don't know. The Eagles' passing game didn't look great. Kellen Moore, the coordinator, needs to get on the same page with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Okay? Like, if they're going to go to the Super Bowl, if they're going to contend for the trophy, they need to have all facets of the game going. They could afford to have a down week in the passing game this week, but I don't think that they can afford to do that in the NFC Championship game, for example. Last little note on this game, Dallas Goedert looked like George Kittle. Okay, I think no one's really talking about that, but like, holy cow, Dallas Goedert had some incredible plays. If you haven't seen it, stop this video right now and go look up Dallas Goedert's incredible touchdown. Bucks Commanders. This seemed like it was going to be a really fun matchup, and it totally was. Best game of the weekend in terms of just competitiveness, going down to the wire. Mike Evans, he had a great game, and he was matched up against Marshawn Lattimore, who's been like his arch rival for a decade, it feels like. That's been one of the cooler like individual player rivalries to follow in the league, and Mike Evans actually got the better of him. Doesn't usually go that way, it feels like. Terry McLaurin on the other side, he had a great game too. The wide receiver for the Commanders. It was great to see both of them go back-to-back. They both got in the end zone. At the end of the day, it just feels like Jaden Daniels' dynamic playmaking was too much. Like that won out. It was whoever had the ball last, and the Bucks defense just couldn't get Jaden Daniels and the Commanders off the field. So props to Jaden Daniels and his incredible playmaking on the ground, over the air. Like, they don't have a lot of playmakers, but Jaden Daniels was enough to get them by. So rookie quarterback wins on the road in the playoffs. That's awesome. He joins a very special list of rookie quarterbacks to do that, and that is Russell Wilson, Mark Sanchez, and Joe Flacco, the only rookie quarterbacks to ever win a playoff game on the road. Add Jaden Daniels to that list. Huge accomplishment. Moving on to the final game, Rams-Vikings. Man, I got this game so wrong. I thought that the Vikings were as good as their record. I thought Sam Darnold had one down game against a great divisional opponent who knows them very well. But no, he totally turned back into a pumpkin after a great first 15 weeks of the season. And yeah, I don't know what to say. It just feels like thinking like, oh, I don't trust Sam Darnold in the playoffs. Oh, that'll go wrong. Like, he still sucks. That just felt like such a lazy opinion and kind of a close-minded opinion, because we saw so much good from Sam Darnold this whole season. And so that opinion ended up being the correct one, right? If you were picking this game, and if you were picking his matchup against the Lions in Week 18, people who thought that way were just proven so right, and I don't even know what to think anymore. The Rams offense didn't look great. It was kind of like the Texans performance, where the defense was just so good. The team ended up rolling. In this case, Sam Darnold was sacked 9 times, and that ties a playoff record for most sacks in a game. So credit to the Rams defense. They lose future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald, and their defense somehow gets better. Just insane. I have no explanation. I have no explanation for the Vikings side or the Rams side, but Sam Darnold sucked, and the Rams are moving on, and they play the Eagles. We're jumping into it. The divisional round this weekend. We got 4 games. I'm going to give you the matchups. I'm going to give you the point spreads. I'm going to give you my picks. And we are starting with Eagles-Rams. I'm kind of terrified to pick this game because I was so anti-Rams last week, and then they pull that upset. And, where it all started to go wrong, I feel like, the pregame in the Rams-Vikings, it was like 15 minutes coverage of the wildfires in LA and how amazing the community has been, the state, just everyone pitching in and helping each other, and how devastated everyone is, and how we're going to build back better because LA is strong. And it was, there was so much heart in the stadium. They had former NFL players coming in and giving just amazing speeches, and it was so electric. I could feel it through my TV. I could feel the electricity in the stadium, and the singer singing the national anthem is literally crying while she's singing it. And then right before kickoff, I'm like, are the Vikings really about to kick their ass? Like, is that how this is gonna go? Like, I feel like it's not. Like, I don't know how that could be. So immediately I was worried about my pick, just because it just cosmically, it felt like the Rams were going to win. And sure enough, they did. I don't know if that carries over into this next week. I really don't. It's going to be in Philly, and that's always a toxic place to play. So I'm going to pick the Eagles. I think they're the better team. They're at home. And point spread is 6. I'm going to pick them to cover, but I was so wrong about the Rams. Don't quote me on this. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win and to cover because they are such a complete team. And yeah, I believe in them, and I really want to see that Lions-Eagles matchup in the NFC Championship game. Next game, Chiefs versus Texans. Another note, in Philly and in Arrowhead, it's probably going to snow. There's a lot of inclement weather that's going to come down. I believe in Buffalo, they're expecting snow there too. So that's just an interesting wrinkle in this as well. Chiefs, I think they're going to roll against the Texans. I don't think that Mahomes is going to throw 4 interceptions like Justin Herbert did. The point spread is 8.5. The Chiefs hate to cover. They absolutely hate it. They will play the worst opponent in the league, and the spread will be like 13 points, and they'll win by 4. Like, the Chiefs hate to cover. And I don't know if that's strategy, like they're trying to save their new plays, or they're trying to win the game while like giving away as little on film as they can, if they're trying to save the health of certain guys. I don't know what it is, or if they just genuinely play down to their opponent, but they always win and they never cover. And I'm going the other way. I think the Chiefs cover against the Texans because this is the postseason, because they've had so much success against this specific team in the past. And I think that the Chiefs are going to get Hollywood Brown going, and they're going to outscore the Texans by a bunch. I'm predicting a blowout. Next game, Bills-Ravens. This is going to be the game of the year, at least until the Super Bowl. I cannot believe one of these teams has to lose in the divisional round, but they both get the privilege of not playing the Chiefs. Like, I guess that's the alternative, right, is going into Arrowhead. So just crazy. Top 2 MVP candidates. Like, there are so many storylines in this game. I love it. Like I said, we're probably going to see some snow in this game. And if it snows, I think that will favor the running game for both teams. And if you boil it down to the running game, I think that favors Derrick Henry and the Ravens. And Lamar, I mean, come on. Josh Allen is very difficult to tackle. Don't get me wrong. I think this is going to be close. But honestly, what do the Bills do better than the Ravens? I know some would argue quarterback play, but, like, I don't even know. Weapons? Like, the Bills haven't gotten Amari Cooper going, and the Ravens have 2 great tight ends, even if Zay Flowers doesn't play. Like, I think the weapons are comparable. Ravens have a better running game. Their defenses are comparable, but I would honestly take the Ravens with their secondary getting healthier. It's going to be difficult on the road, but the Ravens are 1.5-point favorites, and I think the Ravens win. I think they cover. They probably win by like 4. Man, the Ravens are my team, and I'm going to ride with them. It's really close. Wouldn't be surprised either way this game went. I would be surprised by a blowout, actually. But yeah, man, that's going to be incredible. And that one's on Sunday. So yeah, definitely going to be tuning in for that. Should be the game of the year, as long as the weather doesn't just totally erase both passing games. I think it's going to be fun. And then the final game, Lions versus Commanders. Okay, the Commanders got to be the most fun team that we didn't expect to see in the playoffs. And they have to go to Detroit, and there's no way I'm picking the Commanders to actually pull the upset and beat the Lions. But the point spread is 8.5, and that is a lot of points. I don't know. This is the hardest one. I've been going back and forth on this all week, and gosh, yeah, like I said, I have to pick the Lions to win, but I'll probably pick the Commanders to cover. The line's been moving around a lot. I think it got up to 9.5, and then it went back down. Depending on where you go, make sure you use BetStamp to get the best odds at the point spread that you like. But I'm going to take the Commanders to cover that 8.5 points. I think the Lions probably win by a field goal, and maybe it's a missed field goal that decides the game. I don't know, because it's just Jaden Daniels is so dynamic. The Lions defense is banged up, and the Commanders are just playing out of their minds with just house money. Like they don't know what they don't know, and they're just running around out there. You got Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner on the defensive side holding it down. I think that's as good of a linebacking core as you're going to see, and I think they absolutely have a shot. And I think the Lions have maybe one of the best field goal kickers, and the Commanders have one of the worst of the teams remaining. So I could definitely see this coming down to a kick. We'll see. The Lions could blow them out too, but I don't think so. I would pick the Commanders to cover there. So those are my picks. I'm beyond excited. I'm so sad that my parlay from last week didn't work. We got the first 3 legs, had to wait until Monday night. I was getting excited, getting my hopes up, and then the Vikings just absolutely laid an egg, and I stopped watching at halftime because I was so frustrated. Man, we almost pulled through, quadrupled our money, but unfortunately no. And then I'm not really gonna be giving out any sort of betting advice beyond what I already have with my game picks this week. But yeah, no, it should be a great week of football. My Super Bowl picks are all still in play. I'm pretty heavy on the Ravens on the AFC side, and then on the NFC side, it's Eagles-Lions. And man, I hope both of those teams win so that we see them play next week. That's going to be awesome. I think that's all for me. Good luck this week, all your guys' rooting interests out there. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.